Welcome, everyone. This is the NCA live Q&A, and we're going to be looking at why it's important to support the National Citizens Alliance now and in 2019. There's a lot of issues that we're going to talk about tonight, but this is pretty critical subject. You know, our country is in crisis right now. We all know about the radical mass immigration. There's an extreme multicultural agenda. We're dealing with open borders. We got a top-down dictatorial government, and the future of Canada is at risk with this agenda, this globalism agenda. So we're going to be talking about this tonight, and we want to emphasize that just replacing Trudeau, although many Canadians despise this man, is not the answer. That's just a Band-Aid solution. That's just a Band-Aid solution because he's only one person part of this four-party globalist conglomerate. He's only one person. He's replaceable. He's just a puppet up there. He's a PM puppet. And those puppets are replaceable. They'll just put another different face, and they got the same globalism agenda going on. So tonight we're encouraging people to ask questions, share their feedback, and we're going to be talking about Agenda 21 tonight. We're going to be talking about what's going on in Europe, the decline of Europe, and how it's affecting us. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Jagdev Singh Bains. He's the NCA candidate for Calgary Skyview. Welcome tonight to join us.
Thank you, Stephen. And I thank all the viewers of our program. And tonight we'll be speaking about what's the importance of supporting the National Citizens Alliance and why it's important and right time to join our party now. So obviously, our party is new, and we, of course, need your support and your membership. So it would be nice that you people listen to us. Go onto our website, National Citizens Alliance web page. We have a Facebook page. You already know it. So you will know more about the party. So we welcome anybody to ask any questions about the party. About our agenda. Basically, we will be speaking about the globalist agenda and the future of Canada. As Stephen already told you guys that the current governments are, both the governments like the Liberals, the NDPs and the Conservatives, they all are one party under one mentor, but different faces to show us. So we are annoyed with one party, then the other one takes the role. So basically there's one mentor, and the mentor dictates them the terms and just gives them a time for 4 years, like we have the 4 years time for elections. So within these 4 years, he's given like agenda for, say, do the 10% of their job. So he's doing, say, 10%, and the next government will do another 10% forward. So at the end, now we are reaching near the end goal of these globalist dictators. So it's high time that we should start understanding this. Stop watching their TVs, because all the TVs and medias, most of them, they are bought or they are the property of these globalist corporates, and they try to show us that thing which is beneficial for them, which they want us to see. So basically what I want to say is that we should do a research with our own brains. Why is it happening? What is the other side of this thing? And earlier people used to believe that 9/11 was done by somebody else, but later on they found no, it was an inside job. It was just to capture oil and territories in the east. So likewise, they are capturing the whole world, and making us scared. And the same thing is going to happen in Canada. So we are here today talking about Canada's future. So it's time that we should wake up and know all this, what we are talking, no other party will say about it. So open your eyes and open your minds, and you will know the truth about it. So, Stephen?
Yeah, excellent points, Jagdev. This globalism agenda, and I'm going to clarify what it means. Globalism is talking about mass immigration, extreme multiculturalism, erosion of freedom of speech, suppression of Canadian nationalism, open borders, extreme free trade, which is part of open borders, and ultimately new world government, one world government,
new world order.
Yeah, and for Canada, it's meaning a post-national globalist state or village. We're all going to be divided. We're going to be in conflict with different groups in our society. And if the economy gets bad, that's only going to inflame it more. And it's all about dividing and controlling by globalists. This is the truth, everyone. And it's just not just Trudeau and the Liberals. This has been going on for decades and decades. Unfortunately, we've been asleep. We've been too trusting or also too complacent, too apathetic. But now it's at the point our children, their children's future are at extreme risk right now. And I call on everyone, just look at Europe. What's happening in Europe is going to happen here. And it's already started. There are grooming gangs forming in Canada. There was one that was caught in Newfoundland of all places. And they're in different parts of the country. There's female genital mutilation going on behind the scenes across the country. There's radicalization going on. There's a number of Canadians that joined ISIS. Can you believe that? So this is all going on, and we're going to talk about this tonight, but just replacing Trudeau. Sure, this guy is incompetent. He's got terrible judgment. He's disloyal to our country. You could argue he's treasonous in his conduct. And we're going to hold him accountable as a party. We're going to release something. But just replacing this puppet, they're just going to put another puppet in his place.
He's right.
You got to remember that. Just replacing Trudeau is only going to put another puppet in there, and the globalism agenda is going to continue. Like I said, mass immigration, extreme multiculturalism. And I call on everyone. We got videos about, look at the history. Mulroney had mass immigration more than Pierre Trudeau. Harper had historic mass immigration coming into our country. Just remember that. And actually, he gave more of our money. Can you believe it? He gave more of our money overseas than this Justin Trudeau regime. So it's not just Trudeau and the Liberals. Remember that. So we got some questions tonight. Hello, Nancy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Adam Russell, thank you for joining.
Zubair, thanks for joining. And Opal Harlan, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for all for joining us. We're going to get into these questions now. Thank you, Bruce. Denza is here tonight. Thank you. Excellent. He's saying now that governments and social media are openly censoring those that oppose them, it becomes urgent that Canadians put a stop to it in 2019. Yeah. So Bruce is talking about the growing censorship. Our videos are starting to get censored, everyone. We're doing our best. We're going into other video programs like BitChute, and but right now it's only been occurring on Facebook, and we had one video on YouTube that was censored because just hold off on that. But we had one video censored on YouTube. But I know a lot of other people are feeling this, are dealing with this. So we got strong policy to deal with this. Remember, there's a mass surveillance state in Canada. The establishment doesn't talk about it. But Harper poured billions into it. It's basically dragnet surveillance of every Canadian. This is wrong. Canadians have absolutely zero privacy in this country. And that is wrong. And the position of the National Citizens Alliance that we should have, every Canadian should have reasonable privacy. And if there is a need for surveillance, there has to be a court order. Come on. And I'm going to get back to the questions here. We're looking at, what does it say? Carla's saying it's going to have to get worse in Canada before the general public wakes up. Most Canadians haven't been watching the decay of Europe and Britain.
Once again, thanks for joining us. And I would like to highlight the point that what's happening now is that slowly and slowly within the next maybe decade, 1 decade or two, we'll have no right to freedom. We will lose all our freedom to speech. We will lose our freedom to thoughts even. So even if you think against the government, so it would be a crime, I mean. And if you have some speech against them, it's already a crime, as just Bruce has just pointed out that they are censoring our videos. So if we have started thinking that these governments are against us and they are not for Canadians, and this is not only for Canada, in all the countries now it's going to happen that their governments would be against their own people because they are working under one agenda for these dictators. And how it happens is that it happens slowly, like they will create unrest in some part of the world, then go and capture as if it is a terrorist attack, or they captured Saddam Hussein, they have radioactivity bombs and all that, nuclear bombs, but they found nothing. But now they have full control over that area. And now they will start dividing our society. They have already agents in the society running door to door who say that to the woman they will say, don't marry men, or don't marry anybody, just stay alone, and the men will use you for sex. And on the other hand, they will tell the man, why you need to create so many problems for yourself? You can just have sex for some money and you can live your independent life. So this way they are killing our family values, our attachment to our kids, our attachment to each other. So time will come that we will start fearing each other. We will be scared of a human being just in the same house, of human being next door. So they have already created such an atmosphere that we already are scared of anybody coming to our house, or if there is a doorbell, who is there. So it's right time that we wake up. So why they are doing it? Because if we are away from each other, we will be never discussing what is in our minds, which we are discussing with Stephen, with you guys today. If everybody starts discussing this at their homes, just think what will happen to their agenda. So they are basically dividing us. They are killing our spirituality. They are killing our thoughts. And they are making us scared of each other. Because if we are scared of each other, we will never get together. And that's what they want. If we are never together, it's very easy for them to capture us. So basically, what we are trying to tell you guys is that stop watching their TVs. If you, when I go on TV, I usually watch my South Asian channels. When I go to the English channels or the channels in Canada and America, it's all about crime. You just click on any channel. It's about crime, people killing each other, neighbor killing neighbor, and it's all manipulated to just scare us, to make fear in our minds. Every channel is about forensic science or crime. So basically, what's globalist agenda? It's a very, very slow poison. It takes its effect in 10 years or 20 years. By the time you are old, and the next generation will not even know that something new has happened, because they are already into it. They are already used to it, and the next generation will think that it is just part of our life and it should go on. But in time, in like 50 years, our kids would be slaves. So that's the main thing that we should now wake up. And what we are telling you is no other party will tell you, because we are not puppets, we are not agents. We are working for our country's citizens. Canada is first for us. And secondly, Steve was telling that millions and billions of dollars are going out. So did anybody of us think why this money is going out when we have so many thousands and hundreds of thousands homeless in Canada? I never saw beggars like maybe 10 years ago, but now on every street there's a beggar. I mean, he's begging with a bowl or with a hat. So this condition is going to worse day by day. Come on, Steve.
No, excellent stuff. Yeah, he's touching on the issues. I don't want to get into a debate tonight. Opal, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And we've done research on the foreign aid. It's well documented, and we'll be happy to send you something. But apparently the Harper regime was actually, on average, actually more than the Trudeau regime. Can you believe it? And we will send you the documentation of that. You know, regardless, both of them are at historic levels of money flowing out of the country. You know what's disturbing is there's no accountability over that money. We don't know where it's going, and we have to look at it in the bigger context, is that we're a debtor nation. We're over $652 billion in federal debt. It's, as far as we know, through there's over $30 billion a year in debt service payments to commercial banks. These commercial banks are making incredible profit off the debt, and we believe that money is circling back to the establishment parties. It's pretty obscene, and that's where the corporate globalists come in. And you can see how they have a lot of control over the government. We're trying to break that. This government, the federal government, should be in service of the Canadian people, not in service of special interests and corporate interests. Replacing Trudeau is not going to change that. We have to drain the globalist swamp in Ottawa. That's it. We have to drain that swamp. And I want to welcome Chris Mills. Thank you for joining us. Excellent. And Walter Moore from Nova Scotia. And Walter, I can't believe what's going on in Halifax. You know, we found out recently the Islamic Party of Canada actually was founded in that historic city. Can you believe it? The Islamic Party of Canada. And this party wants to implement the Quran in Canada. Basically implement Sharia. And that actually started in Halifax, one of our historic cities of Canada. I want to welcome Ian Bridges here. Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Brian Brecken, he's talking, he says, Hindus and Sikhs are still squabbling here. Why don't they leave the old country? Fights at the door. Hindus and Sikhs. Yeah, I'm not worried at. As far as we're concerned, Brian, we support all Canadians. It doesn't matter what your color of skin, your ethnic background, your religion, or whatever. As long as you're putting our country, our people first, you've come here. This is your homeland. We welcome you into our party. We do not welcome radical extremists. Those types are not welcome in the NCA, and we have policy to deal with you. We do not want you in our country, and we're going to get you out of our country. That's our policy on that. But, we recognize what's going on in the Punjab, the injustice, the inequality. the 1984 genocide. We recognize that as a party, but unlike the establishment parties, we do not play separatist Sikh politics. Our focus is on the Canadian people. On the Canadian people.
And moreover, in Canada, Hindus and Sikhs, they all live like brothers and sisters. We go to their temples, and Hindus, I see every Saturday and Sunday, thousands of Hindus visiting Sikh gurdwaras. They have the Sikh common kitchen, which is called langar. They have sit with us with covered head. And we are living like one community here. I agree that back home there are many problems due to the Hindu governments, because Sikhs are minority and they are being ill-treated and they are not being justice and they are not even given the human rights. But that's all back in the country in India. It's nothing to do with Canada. We are here Canadians fighting for Canada. Why I joined this party is because I really feel what Stephen was doing. He is the founder member, and he's the man who organized this party. I found truth, and to be honest, I never voted before the 2015 elections when Stephen was first time. He was running the riding in Skyview. So that was the first time in my whole life, although I lived a major part of my life till now in India, but I never voted in India because I never trusted anybody. So the first time I voted was in 2015 for Stephen. And then we suddenly met somewhere in a function, and he told me that now we are organizing and we have more people joining us. We are growing and I need you. He told me the agenda. I liked it. And so I joined him. So that was the only reason, and that we are running this party to save Canada. So it's time that we wake up. These people who are running the governments, they are not for Canada. They are against Canada. They are working for the globalist agenda. So everybody is given a job for 4 years. So they are asked that you will be given the luxuries, you will be given treasures. Just you will be our face to the people. Because these people, the people who are actually running the economies of the whole world, they don't come in the front. In front of the people, they are behind somewhere. Nobody knows them. So these people who are facing us, they are the political parties. They are doing their agenda. They are performing for them, and each one is given a target. Say, move ahead 10%. So by the end of 4 years, you will be given a luxurious life and a luxurious pension and security for throughout life. And this is all on the taxpayers. And what the money was. Stephen was telling that it is the taxpayers' money. We are never asked where the money is going, and they are giving for their agendas outside of Canada. And the second point I wanted to raise, apart from globalist agenda, is that did you ever notice, you guys, that thousands and hundreds of thousands of immigrant students, the work on student visas, they are entering Canada. And surprisingly, I did a survey. No student who finished his education in Canada, he's never given a job in the profession which he was qualified for, which he spent 3 years or 4 years in Canada. They are working on gas stations. They are working in stores. They are working in security. They are working as taxi drivers. Basically, what I want to say is they have taken all the jobs which our Canadian citizens deserve. Do you know why? Because they are working on cash. They are not allowed to work so much of time. So they are working on cash, which is $3 to $4 lesser than our paycheck citizens. And so I've met many people when we are going to door asking their concerns and asking their problems. They're telling that we are not hired and students are working there. So nobody is raising any question. I mean, nobody. And one more thing I just remember, Stephen, my mother is like 75 now. So she never visited Canada. I thought before she dies, maybe she will see my house here. She may see her grandchildren here, because the youngest one was born here in Canada. She never saw her. So I applied for her visa, just a tourist visa for 3 months. And there was no excuse given. I applied 3 times and nobody gave her visa, and she was refused. I wrote letters to Trudeau, to his immigration minister. Nobody ever cared. One thing I want to say here is that when Harper was prime minister, he actually replied some of my concerns I had, not personal then they were for society. But this guy Trudeau and his ministers, they just don't care who we people are. They are just working for their own problems. They are solving on their own missions, and they are not working for our Canadian society.
Yeah, no, it sounds excellent. I'm going to get to some of the questions here. I want to welcome Kelly Jacobson. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Jeff Hagan agreed with you. He said, true. Yeah, we've gone door to door, everyone. And there's a lot of immigrants that have come to Canada, and this is within, let's say, the last 20 years. And they're supporting the National Citizens Alliance because they see that the crap that they left in their homelands is coming here. And they're angry. They left their homelands for a better life. They didn't leave their homelands to come to the same crap that's coming here. So we're getting a lot of support from immigrants within the party. And these are immigrants that are putting the Canadian people first. These are immigrants that are hardworking, that have come here for a better life. And they're actually joining the National Citizens Alliance because they see what's coming, everyone. These people lived it in their other countries. They know it. Like, I'll give you an example. Like India, it's all divide and conquer. Politics in India. It's here now. The divide and conquer's here, and it's going to get worse. We have swelling enclaves all over the country. We have, I mentioned grooming gangs. We're soon to have no-go zones. I'm sure there's Sharia courts already in Canada working behind the scenes. This is reality, everyone. And Carla made a point that a lot of Canadians aren't aware of this because of the media. But, all of us here need to get this information out to the public. And we're working on this every day. Please share our videos. Please like them, share them with your friends so we can at least inform the Canadian people. That's all we can do. Because right now they're just indoctrinated. And we're going to be posting something later this week. Oh my God. It's so horrific what's going on in this country. It's so horrific. And I'll give you a little summary of it. The government is spending $23 million plus of our tax dollars on a globalism indoctrination program focused on white people, Euro-Canadians across Canada. And guess what? The government views all of us as racists. Can you believe that? This government that's supposed to serve us views us as racists. It's disgusting what's going on in this country. You guys should be angry at what's going on. This is disgusting. So they're going to indoctrinate us to be more tolerant of Sharia, of radical extremism in our country. Can you believe it? They're going to be spending millions of dollars trying to brainwash to accept things that are so incompatible with our way of life, our values. Can you believe that? Unbelievable.
And the next topic I'm coming to is, as I said in my beginning of my speech, that they'll be killing our freedom to speech, freedom to thoughts. So what I mean by that? So do you guys ever know that these cars and all these machineries can be run by water, the normal water at home? Nobody will tell you this thing. So engineers who made this possible in the US to create energy, and they even drove on the roads their cars for experiment, their cars with hydrogen that was just made from the normal water, and they all were killed. They all were shot, or they made some excuses, and Maybe you also know that Tesla was killed. He wanted to give free electricity to the whole world. So these globalist people, they don't have any humanity, no emotions. So money comes first for them, and they want power and to rule the world. And second thing I'm coming to is, do you guys know that there was, I forgot the name of the doctor, and he found that cancer is actually not a disease, but a deficiency of vitamin B17. So just like earlier in the century, scurvy was created a fear in the whole world that it is an epidemic or some disease, and they started selling their medicines, these pharmaceutical companies. You might be knowing that they all belong to Rockefeller, who controls half the economy of the world. So they started selling these scurvy medicines, which they later found was just a deficiency of vitamin C. And cancer is also deficiency of vitamin B17. And in the US, I think it was the 70s or 80s, every tree which had, I just missed one thing, vitamin B17 is found in bitter almonds, not the sweet almonds which we find in the stores, but they are bitter almonds. Every tree in the US was removed from the US, and no bitter almonds were allowed from outside, just on the excuse that they are harmful for human beings. Do you know? Because they will stop selling their cancer medicines. So think what, why, yeah, wow. People will be cured with this bitter almond, and where would the medicines? So it is a very big game. What we are doing here is really, I mean, risky. We are risking our lives to wake you up. So we are not here just for power, to be honest, to hang our banners on the streets in the coming elections that Stephen is running and myself are running. We are actually risking our lives to tell you all the truth, which no one else will tell you. Never these parties will tell you anything. And second thing is about diabetes. So if you go and search, earlier in the century, or not even earlier, but in the 70s or 80s, the normal for diabetes was around 8 units. And now they have brought down to, because they didn't find so many patients for 8, and everybody was under normal, So they brought down because, to be honest, many of the members who approved this new unit value in the United Nations were members from those pharmaceutical companies who are owned by these globalist people who have no emotions, no mercy on human beings. They just want to sell their products. And as Stephen already told you, that 50,000 refugees were brought to Canada without even screening them. So what they are bringing in here, if you go and search, US has more than 350 million population, and Canada has only 33 million. 36, yeah. So actually, which is just even 10% of what they have in the US, when Canada has more land than the US. So what they are trying to do is that they want more consumers here, because they want their market here. They don't want that. It's nothing for them that Canadian values are falling, the values of life are degrading, our standard of living is falling. It means nothing to them. They just want here customers, more consumers. So they are bringing in the face of refugees, immigrants, students, everywhere, because they need more and more consumers. So because they basically want to sell their products. So our lives are at risk now, to be honest. What we are telling you would be, somebody else would be listening, and which they will think, how can they speak this to the public? Because nobody has openly spoken about this. So what I wanted to tell you guys is, if you really like that we are honest people, support us, join us, and we are a very new party. And although we are putting most of the funds which we are at present, we are running our party, we are putting from our own pockets. So we would appreciate if people also joined and helped us. And we have our website. We have donation button there. So it would be appreciated.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yep. Yeah. The more people donate, the more we can advertise and get our name out there, and the more we can educate the public. And, just to summarize what Dr. Jagdev Bains was saying there, these globalists, they have no allegiance to Canada. It's all about global profit. They're in many countries all around the world, and Canada is just another country. Again, like Dr. Jagdev said, they just want to bring more slave labor in, more consumers, more taxpayers in the country. These globalists hate Canadian nationalism.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that. They hate Canadian nationalism. They want to stamp it out. They want to stamp out our basis, the Christian basis, the Judeo-Christian basis of Canada. They want to weaken the individual. They want to weaken the family unit. And we can all see it happening now.
Yeah, I already told this.
Yeah. There's attacks on the family. I'm going to get back to these comments. Apparently, Manitoba has just cut off foreign students off provincial benefits. So that's a positive step. And just remember what's happening federally. You won't hear this in the news, but an economic migrant has been changed to an international student, including graduate student. They're bringing tens of thousands of unemployed students into our country. A lot of them come here and then they work for cash under the table. And that's why a lot of the immigrants in the communities around Canada support us, because they can't find work. These students are undercutting them. They're working for less. They're working for cash and they can't find work. It's unbelievable. And our unemployment's going up. It's just unbelievable. And I want to get back to these comments. Kelly Jacobson, he says we need to see those people speaking up. I see of them. Why don't you interview some of the people? They need to be heard. Excellent point, Kelly. We're going to do that when we're doing door-to-door. We have to get consent forms with us, and then we'll do live interviews of these people we're talking about. And I'm going to be going with Dr. Jagdev tomorrow night, door-to-door. So we're hoping to do some live video tomorrow night, assuming the people don't mind talking to live on that. But that's an excellent suggestion. Thank you, Kelly, for that. Florian, thank you for your hard work. Yeah, it's hard work. The good news, everyone, we're growing every day. It's unbelievable. We're picking up new supporters and members literally every day. It's very exciting. And we're close to submitting our registration papers. And, we got candidates who are working now in different parts of the country. So that's exciting. I was on the phone with someone from Cambridge, Brantford, Hamilton area, and we're going to be setting up a campaign team there. And what a horrific area that is, that part of the country, eh? Complete invasion in that area. Cambridge, Hamilton, Bradford, that whole area there. It's very, very sad. But we're going to be out there, and Canadians are going to have a clear, definitive choice here. And so that's exciting for the Canadian people. We just got to keep spreading our message. I want to get back to these questions. Thank you, Loretta, for joining us. She says it's going on right now in the public schools in Alberta. Right. Okay. And Bruce says the globalists destroy the basis of our society. They changed the country. What made Canada the country we know will no longer exist. Exactly, Bruce. So that's what everyone needs to accept. That, and you just need to look to Europe, and you can see what's coming to us. We just put out a video the other day on it. There's all kinds of grooming gangs. There's epidemic rapes in Europe. There's massive angry ghettos immigrant ghettos. There's all kinds of sexual harassment going on across Europe. This is the truth. And I couldn't believe it. We posted this week. In Sweden, they actually voted on child marriages. Could you believe that? They actually voted on legalizing child marriages. And 136 of those globalist politicians in Sweden said yes to child marriages. And it was just 15 short of passing. That's what's coming, everyone. That is what's coming. And that's a direct attack on our children, on our family unit. Isn't that horrendous? Child marriages, right out of the Quran. Right here, I'm just looking at the comments here. Freedom of speech is in danger. They are arresting people in the UK left and right. While here, there have been a few arrests related. Yeah, this is going to increase in Canada. There's going to be more censorship. There's already mass surveillance on every Canadian. And we know what Facebook is up to. They've been working with the federal government to censor pages in Canada. Jeff Hagan says you have to fight for Canada. Stand up. Stand side by side and get people like this to run Canada. Wake up. Time is short, everyone. Time is short. The good news is that a lot of these immigrants, they see what's happening too, and they're joining us as well, which is very good for us. Croft Dawn, thank you for joining us. Excellent. She says in Australia, the nurses have become pawns.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to mandate them to apologize for white privilege before treating the patient. Trying to mandate them to apologize for white privilege. Wow, that's crazy. Thank you, Wayne McCracken, for joining us. Excellent. He says hello to you, Dr. Jagdev.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hello to you.
Big pharma company making large cash on the common people. This is horrendous. This is part of corporate globalism. Jagdev knows the facts. Check it out. Jeff Hagan.
Oh, thank you.
And Kelly Jacobson, big farmer, big business, big money. Most people have no clue. I do. I'm in farmer sales. It's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
It's disgusting. That's from Kelly. And I want to get back. Carla asked something a little while ago about all the debt money. And Carla was wondering if it was owed to China. The debt money, the federal debt money is owed to commercial banks, both domestic and international banks.
These banks belong to Rothschild and Rockefeller, as I earlier said. And these are just few names, I mean, which are research is being done on the internet, but there could be many. It could lead to somewhere else, I mean, whom we never know. So, but the sad part of this is that normal citizens have to wake up. Whosoever they are, it's not our job. Our job is to bring right people, not the puppets in the government. So that's a right job as a citizen. And it's beyond our resources and beyond our knowledge who those people are. We actually have to build up a good society, a good Canada. And although I am a farmer's son, I was sent to Russia for doing my MD in medicine, and I completed with excellent grades and all. And then I did 12 years practice in India as a doctor. But as I told you, my only reason for moving to Canada was a bright future, a good society, people loving each other, a good security for my kids. I have 3 daughters, and India is a very bad place for raising daughters, especially the females. So my wife is also a doctor. We sooner or later realized that we should move to Canada. And luckily, at that period, there was immigration, fast-track immigration for doctors, and we were invited here. Why I am telling you is that for the last 10 years, I have been driving trucks or taxis, and this is a monopoly or say bureaucracy in Canadian government, in Canadian policies, that they are just bringing bright brains for future slavery, but they are not giving us the right jobs in our profession. So they will have good brains for the future slavery. They know that even if they don't become doctors, their kids would be intelligent enough to run as their future slaves and do good jobs for them. So basically that's their agenda. And I was never given a doctor's job or even a near profession. And basically, I want to tell you is that medical profession all over the world is same. All the diseases of human beings are same, and the medicines are same. And most of the medicines are in Latin language, or diseases are in Latin language. And we have done, every doctor has gone through it. So we had given suggestions that they should give us training, clinical training for 1 year to be doctrined into Canadian system. But the thing is that the process is so long, and it is all due to these policies which the government never, they were never updated. I mean, and it's not only me, it's hundreds of thousands of doctors who have been brought from all over the world, and they are driving taxis or trucks or, yeah. And the other part is, which I wanted to touch is, that a part of my Canadian life, I lived 1 year in Canada, 1 year in Ottawa. So I realize why I'm bringing this point is that most of the immigrants or refugees, or I saw thousands of people there going in burqas, and they are all on welfare. All their husbands and wives, everybody is on welfare. And this is our hard-earned Canadian money. And Trudeau, it's not Trudeau, it's anybody who will be coming to the government, he'll be doing the same function for those, their mentors. I will say them, there's one mentor or two mentors above them. So just the faces change of these puppets, and the mentor is the same. So basically, why, when they can't come here and work, why are they bringing them in here? So basically, Canada needs workers or future intelligent people, skilled workers. Then why are they bringing people here to just feed them from the first day with welfare? And secondly, as it's already mentioned on our website also, that we are against burqa, and we are publicly saying it, that we are against burqa. Women should not be wearing the burqa. It's also on their human rights value, and it's torture against women. And even if they are agree to wear burqa under, I mean, peaceful manner, it's still, I will think that somebody may commit a crime and go in a burqa, you know.
Good one.
I mean, we are in such a time that everyday crime is happening, yeah? And anybody can just take disguise in a burqa, and burqa should be abandoned, I mean. And as Stephen already said, we are good for turban, and we are happy with the immigrants, but we are not happy with uncontrolled immigration, like 50,000 entering into Canada. For what reason? When we have so many miseries in Canada itself, why Trudeau is going abroad and bringing people? Let him go out on the streets and find beggars here. I don't know why he doesn't see beggars here on the streets. He should come and visit Calgary or BC. There are so many people homeless here. Why is he going to Syria and bringing people to help humanity? He can help humanity in Canada first. 100%. So that's our question, that why not Canada first? And the last point I wanted to touch is the carbon tax. So basically what is happening is these globalist people, they have huge amount of money, and they don't need money because they print the money. It's just they print the money and they don't need to work for it. They're just printing money and giving us. And Canada is and all countries are indebted to them because they're just printing money and sending them in, and there's no check how much